You know the music. Time to dance.
3, 2, 1.
You're listening to the Ultimate Halo Podcast with Spartacat and Fletch. For the latest Halo news, discussions, entertainment, and more, subscribe now to Ultimate Halo on YouTube.
What's up, kitty cats? Welcome back to another episode of the Ultimate Halo Show. I am Kenny the Spartacat, along with my man, the Fletch, the Fletchiest.
I think you were struggling with something creative to say then, Kenny.
I definitely was. It's Jack Fletcher.
The one and only. Hi, guys.
This is the podcast for all the Halo you care about, and we are now on Spotify, and we're coming soon to Google Play. New episodes will be posted every Sunday at the same time that they're here on the channel. And then again, very soon, Google Play and Apple Podcasts as well. But right now, Spotify gang, you can find us by searching Ultimate Halo. As always, if you have a suggestion or a question or a topic you'd like us to discuss in the next episode of the show, we want to hear from you. Share them with us here in the comments or on Twitter at Ultimate_Halo. And it could be featured in the next episode of the show, bro. Also want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor for this episode of the podcast, Victurous Clothing. You can follow the link in the description below to get 20% off. They're an awesome clothing brand. You can use the discount code Ultimate Halo for that sweet 20% off, bro.
Juicy.
Juicy. Speaking of juicy, let's get into the news.
In the news.
In the news, we have Discovery Dispatch details. So in the VIP package, if you go to Halo Outpost Discovery, there are all sorts of benefits that come along with having that. So in the VIP package, you can get exclusive access 1 hour before official opening on day 1, exclusive access 1 hour after close on day 2 and 3. There is also a VIP lounge. It gives you access to the VIP lounge with certain ticket holders, 343 staff, Xbox dignitaries, Xbox 360s, which are playing Halo on CRT TV. Now that's some retro shizzle right there. So there's also some exclusive pop vinyl figures free for the VIP. There'll be a small amount available for public retail, but you'll get exclusivity in terms of how you can access that. There will be an exclusive HOD avatar shirt, 3 months of Game Pass, which is conveniently alongside with MCC, Halo 5 and Halo Wars 2, which you can gain access to. All ticket holders will also receive Miona armor from Spartans Hazel and Owen for Xbox avatars. You can also get your tickets at Halo Outpost Discovery for more information.
Woo!
You excited, Kenny?
Dude, it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the actual event, I'm hyped. You know, I'm definitely going to go to at least one of them. In terms of actual, for me, like you said, Halo Fest was a big thing a long time ago, but that was 2014. I was a broke-ass bitch then. Like, I had no money. I mean, you could argue I don't have much money now, but in terms of I now have the opportunity to fly out and go to one of these events, and nothing is better than going to a Halo event with your friends. Like, when we go to 343 each year, and when we go to PAX, it's basically just a big Halo community meetup, and just having that common thing that brings you all together. There's nothing I've ever experienced like it. So
it's literally my favorite time of year. Like, whenever we get to go do PAX and we get to go visit the studio and everyone flies in and we get to see the entire community come together like that, it's insane. And now we get to do that traveling around 5 cities around the US this year in the biggest way possible. It's gonna be great.
It's the most wonderful time.
We're gonna get a copyright flag, dude. Anyway. Don't do that.
Sorry, my bad.
Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Ultimate Halo.
Yeah, so for our next segment here on the show, we're actually going to be kind of discussing a topic, actually really more of a question from Ward47 on Twitter. Actually, this one was good enough to kind of pull out of our community Q&A segment from the end of the show and start off with it here. He asked, how would you feel if dual wielding makes a return in Halo Infinite? Fletcherina, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, it's a tough one. To be honest with you, I struggle with this question because I think dual wielding is something that makes me feel like a badass as a player. Halo is about being a power fantasy. From that perspective, I definitely would like to see it return. I think there are some balancing issues, but to be honest with you, especially with the new additions such as the Promethean weapons, being able to use a bolt shot and a needler, that in my head just the possibilities are just so much more. And so, yeah, I mean, I'd like to see it. I think there are challenges in implementing it. I also think that when you've got such a diverse weapon sandbox, it just adds to the fire. But yeah, why not? Screw it.
Personally, for me, I think I'm just too much of a fan of Halo 2 Chief on the cover, dual SMGs.
Yeah.
That iconic? Hello?
We need to stop saying that word every podcast, Kenny.
No, it's gonna happen every episode. No, it literally is iconic though. Like, that was my favorite combination too. That the SMGs just going literally both hands blazing with these cute little SMGs everywhere. I loved the SMGs so much, and I think too with Halo Infinite, it wouldn't be unreasonable to guess or maybe even assume that we could see dual wielding in the next game. Just looking at how much of a callback to Halo's roots the Halo Infinite Slip Space Engine trailer demo thing was, I don't think it's unreasonable to assume that might happen as well.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things we're going to have to wait and see. I know there will be people in the sort of competitive community that say it doesn't really have a place. I mean, truth be told, when it was Halo 3, I used to use the SMG and the Magnum a lot. And I think two weapons...
It's a good combo.
Yeah, I mean, two weapons that might be considered redundant in the normal sandbox, because I didn't really find any use in them as individual weapons, really sort of shine a lot more when you bring them together. But also at the same time, I think it's 343's philosophy that they don't want to make a single weapon on their own redundant. And I think that's one of the things they did a fairly well job of doing in Halo 5, is making every weapon somewhat to some degree have a use or some meaning behind it. So, yeah.
And then we also just have Rex, and they're just like, it.
Follow us on Twitter at ultimate_Halo.
Well, I think that sort of segues perfectly, do you not agree, Kenny, into our next topic, which is microtransactions in Halo Infinite. Yeah, it's a tough one because, I mean, first of all, I think we should just get some general opinions on what we think before we even discuss the in-depth and what may or may not happen. Kenny, what are your thoughts on microtransactions in Halo?
Yeah, let's talk microtransactions.
There's always like a
this
sound
is
of
always
dismay.
Yeah, this one I don't think you can really make anyone happy with. Whether it's yourself as a player or whether you're 343 themselves, there's both sides and they're both kind of the furthest apart from each other. Do microtransactions even have a place in gaming? And what does that mean for the developer when it's also a business at the end of the day? They need to make money, they need to sustain themselves, people need to eat, people have careers, and of course it's still a for-profit business at the end of the day. This game needs to make money as well. And that's why you see a lot of modern games switching to more of a service-oriented style of monetization. It's not just you pay your $59.99 and you play the game and then you maybe have DLC if you happen to have internet. We're way past that now. You even have things like Xbox Game Pass, which is how more and more people are choosing to download and get their games now just by paying monthly instead. So I wouldn't be too terribly surprised if Halo Infinite goes more towards that service style model. I'm not saying you pay monthly to get access to the game, but you could be looking at maybe something like Fortnite, for example, where you have only a cosmetic, specifically a restricted cosmetic microtransaction. You're not going to be paying for anything else. You're not going to be paying for any type of pay-to-win situations. You're only paying to make yourself stand out. Maybe that's weapon skins or certain armor, certain colors, nameplates, emblems. I could see that being an option, but I also don't know that the average Halo player is kind of fitting into that economy. Fortnite is built, they're millions and millions of dollars are built on that business model. I don't know if it would translate too well directly into Halo, though.
Well, I kind of disagree with that in a sense, because when you think about it, Halo has always been about personalizing and tailoring the experience to yourself specifically. So, I mean, look at how people customize their armor, and I think, especially with the new...
But that's always been free.
Yeah,
that's always been free.
That's true. Yeah, and I think, but there needs to be some sort of in-game economy to sort of drive a player to be able to spend money and actually want to do these things. I mean, maybe there could be a good mixture, and this is probably a good time to plug my video that I did quite a while ago. How will the unlock system work? You can view that in the description down below. Selling out myself. But yeah, I think, to be honest with you, I think there needs to be a nice balance. Obviously, I wouldn't like to see the Rex system and the RNG thing come back, and it has been confirmed that there will be no loot boxes in Halo Infinite, because at the end of the day, Chris Lee, that's his name.
Lee.
Yes, the one. The studio head has confirmed this, but it didn't say there was no microtransactions. So I think people just need to I think people just need to tailor more of their expectations that there will be these in game, and let's just have an open mind. If it is flat out terrible, let's at least criticize it objectively rather than just going crazy that the fact that you have to pay money for certain things. But I'm hoping, and I'm fairly confident that 343 will work it well. And also as Warzone, how will it exist without the rec system and having these loot boxes?
I'd be curious to see what the PvE mode would even look like as well too in Halo Infinite, and if that would factor into how you end up paying for additional features of the game, whether that's additional levels or even map packs as well. Like, should microtransactions be kind of like with Halo 4, how you had all those map packs? And the benefit of that is that you don't have any type of pay to win situation, because the actual core sandbox of the game is not affected by your choice to spend money or not. But the downside, which is a huge downside, is that the community becomes divided between those who paid to get access to the rest of the maps and those who did not. And the main loser there is the overall population and matchmaking, whether that's wait times or just the ability for the community to remain cohesive in online play. But again, pros there is that the sandbox isn't affected at all, and that's pretty important to the game as well.
Yeah. Any last thoughts on microtransactions before we move on?
Micro shill. At the end of the day, it's a business. Microsoft Corporation is the name. And I think we do need to accept that you can't just spend your $60 one time anymore. And so now it's really critical on how the development teams going forward in modern titles decide to monetize their games. And
games cost more.
They do cost more.
The prices haven't gone up. Right. Inflation, it hasn't risen with inflation.
No one wants to pay more money. No one wants to pay more than $60 for a game. $65 is just not acceptable for a lot of people.
Although I pay a lot more money to have Halo Infinite right now, so
I think we all would.
Subscribe now to Ultimate Halo on YouTube.
Yeah, so let's wrap up with a couple community questions. As always, again, you can ask us questions in the comments on YouTube down below, or if you're on Spotify or any other platform that you're listening to us on, you can tweet us your questions at ultimate_Halo, including topics that you'd like us to chat about as well. Both of our questions today are going to come from Twitter, starting off with Nathan Wood, who asked us what our wish list is for Halo Infinite. We kind of touched on this a little bit, I think, with microtransactions, but opening up to a broader scale with Halo Infinite. Fletch, what are like your top three things?
I was hoping you were going to go first, because I was thinking that. I didn't actually think about it before we brought it up. Yeah, so I mean, in terms, obviously I want a complete package as soon as the game launches. I appreciate that Halo 5 had a constant stream of content that made me coming back, but a lot of that was stuff that should have been held back.
Right.
It felt like was held back at launch. I think
it probably had quite trouble.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it was also had a trouble development, so I think there were aspects like that to consider. Maybe there's some management issues. It's hard to say. I'm not 100% sure myself, but yeah, a full package at launch, because I think all the community features should be there from day one to really keep that retention in place throughout the game's life cycle. In terms of my number two, I would say in terms of story, I just want more of a complete, well-written story. I don't think there's any incompetence in the side of Halo 5. I think it was just more because things changed down the line. We all know the marketing campaign thing, and we know for a fact now it was literally just because the marketing team ran away with one of the scripts. It was a cool story idea. They ran with it, and then things changed through the development, but they've already spent so many millions of dollars on these crazy marketing campaigns. It was too late to back out of all of that.
You even had that trailer too where Chief was in the desert, and that went literally nowhere. And that was the first that we saw of Halo 5, and that was just totally gone.
So yeah, I think that's definitely a thing 343 have learned from it. They're very much aware of that. So hopefully that won't happen again. And then in terms of my number three, God, that's pretty hard. I know definitely what it is. It's theatre in campaign. I've been asking for this since Halo 4. And to be honest, with Halo 4, I would love to be able to explore around in a free camera just to see the environments. That's my number three. So, Kenny, what's yours?
For mine, I'd probably have to say I want to go back to Reach's style of customization, as well as progression and unlocks. I think it worked really well. There's definitely a bunch of enhancements that, again, you've touched on in your previous video as well too, and even a little bit so far in this episode that we discussed. But I think a Reach style customization system would work really well for progression and unlocks. Number two, I'd also love to see expanded Forge. I think there's so much more that we can do now with Forge, given Halo 5. There's so many things that were amazing, honestly, revolutionary for an in-game map editor in Halo 5 that no other game has. And so I think in Halo Infinite, with that context, there's so much more that can be added now. So I'd love to see a whole bunch of a new set of features, whether it's quality of life things or enhanced scripting, whatever it is. I think there's a lot more possibilities with Forge, and especially now that it's going to be on PC as well too. I think that unlocks quite a bit more potential for the map editor in Halo Infinite. I think it's gonna be really cool. And then number 3, since we do know that Halo Infinite is again coming to PC, mod support, baby. I need to see some mod support, and ideally they'll be in the Steam Workshop as well too. That needs to be supported by 343. Maybe not at launch, since it's going to be a huge release, I'm sure, for the studio, literally a quote-unquote spiritual reboot. But eventually, within a reasonable time frame following launch, if it's not on day 1, we need to have mod support on PC and maybe even Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't really argue with that, to be quite honest with you. I think, yeah, mod support. I mean, that's with the assumption that this game ever does come to Steam in the first place, because I appreciate the bringing MCC to Steam, but that might just be to bring people back into the franchise who've missed it, and then they might just lure them into the Microsoft Store later on, just because, you know, they do take so much of a drastic cut in terms of profit to Steam. So
right.
I actually do not think it will come to Steam Halo Infinite. I could be wrong. I'll be happy to say I'm wrong, but
I would hope so. I think they need to continue what they're doing and going where the Halo community is and wants to be, and I think Steam would be the right move. Definitely not an exclusive game, but I think that Steam would be the right move for sure. Okay, and let's wrap things up now with our final question, and ironically, this one comes from our community favorites, Duquesne23. He asked, with the importance of vehicles in the Halo sandbox, how would you feel about a Halo kart game?
I feel I should block Duquesne23.
He has already been blocked, confirmed. Can confirm that as of right now.
I mean, look, to his initial sort of point with the importance of vehicles in the Halo sandbox, I absolutely agree. I think that Halo has a great sandbox in terms of the vehicles, although I would just like to see race come back in Halo Infinite, so Duquesne can stop talking about race. It's getting silly. Duquesne, I'm praying for you, man. I hope you get your goddamn race.
Let me add that to number 4 on my Halo Infinite wish list. I want Duquesne to have his own exclusive race mode, just for him. Just for him.
Nobody else can play it. He can just sit there.
Right, just Duquesne.
House that is
it's just Duquesne's race game.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not an actual Halo race game, because I think those days of having like Crash Bandicoot racing and Mario Kart's not dead, but obviously that's an exception. That's one franchise that didn't die out in terms of the kart scene thing. But yeah, race, it should come back. I don't see any reason why not. And you see like Hot Pursuit, like a Halo, like, you know, the Halo custom game. It's like Infection game time. That is so fun. I think if you could incorporate race with some elements of that as well, why the hell not? Just the more the merrier. You know, the more tools that you put at fans' disposal, the more of beneficial it's going to be in the long term. So,
and it'll be a Nintendo Switch exclusive.
Can you imagine?
Oof, it's toxic.
Playing on that 720p goodness. I mean, nah, to be fair, I love my Switch, but yeah, I can't see Halo. But if Halo 1, 2, and 3 was on my Nintendo Switch, that would be
disgusting.
Like absolute, like going to work on the train, playing Switch, playing Halo. That's just incredible. A man can dream, Kenny.
Project xCloud is coming, so you don't have to suffer like that.
And I can have severe input like, yeah.
Can I get a ho yeah?
Hey.
Can I get a oh yeah? Oh yeah? Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what that sound means. That's the end of the show for this week. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you haven't already done so, if you're new to the channel on YouTube, you can subscribe down below and hit that notification button so you don't miss any updates from us here on the channel, youtube.com/ultimatehalo. Subscribe, join that notification squishy squad. Like the video as well too. If you enjoy, that helps us out immensely. You can follow my boy Jack Fletcher on Twitter at
FletchUH.
I'm the Spartacat on Twitter at the Spartacat. And you can always follow our main Twitter account as well too at ultimate_Halo. One day we're gonna get rid of that underscore, but for now it's ultimate_Halo. And again, if you have Spotify, you can now listen to the show there as well too. Just go ahead and search Ultimate Halo on Spotify, and coming very, very soon to Apple Podcasts and the Google Play Store as well. And one very final time, if you have any questions or suggestions for discussions in the next episode of the show, you can leave them in the comments below or tweet us with your thoughts.
See you next time, guys.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next Sunday.
Have a good time. Bye.
Today.
Subscribe now to Ultimate Halo for more unfriggin' believable Halo content.